Good evening, everybody. First of all, we'll have a roll call. Diana, can you do a roll call for us?
Your Worship, I can confirm that the IT manager, Cecil Coxon, and myself, Deputy Clerk Diana Wilson, are in attendance in the council chamber. For those participating by video conference, please answer present when your name is called. Mayor Manal.
Present.
Deputy Mayor Jaguar.
Present.
Councillor Widner.
Present.
Councillor Moore.
Present.
Councillor Cerna.
Present.
Councillor Lewis.
Present.
Councillor Galinsky.
Present.
Chief Administrative Officer, Clerk Michelle Casavecchia Summers.
Present.
Director of Fire and Emergency Services, Brent Smith.
Present.
Director of Public Works, Matt Sweetland.
Present.
Director of Finance, Arun Mohili.
Present.
Director of Development, Adam Betteridge.
Present.
That's everyone.
Thanks, Diana. Next business is disclosure of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof.
Yeah, I have one.
Go ahead, Mark.
E2, the Slanky Van Grow petition for drainage.
Okay, so noted, Mark. Thank you. Before we get into the meeting, I want to start the meeting with wishing council and staff and their families and the whole community a very Merry Christmas. If I could have a Christmas wish, it would be this. I've never seen our community so divided. The freedom marches, the anti-freedom people, the conflict, the boycotts of business. We need to take a step back. We need to take a breath and say to ourselves, is this what we're really doing? Is it truly in the Christmas spirit? Let us go from conflict to tolerance, from boycott to peace. If we all work together, we'll come out of this COVID as a united community. So take that to heart, please.
I agree with you, Mayor.
Thank you, thank you, Scott.
Perfectly said. Perfectly said.
Thank you. Next, we have a public meeting, so I need a mover and seconder that the public meeting concerning the zoning bylaw amendment application of Cornelius and Margaretha Penner relating to property located at Lot 21, Concession 9, be called to order at 7:32. Mover and seconder.
Move it. I'll move.
Moore and Cerna, all in favor?
Yes.
Councillor Widner.
Yes.
Councillor Moore.
Yes.
Councillor Cerna.
Yes.
Councillor Lewis.
Yes.
Councillor Galinsky.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Jaguar.
Yes.
Mayor Manal.
Yes.
Carried.
Thank you.
Your Worship, we did miss the minutes.
I'm sorry. The minutes from December 3rd. Was there any errors or omissions? See none, mover and second for the minutes, please.
I'll move it.
Move it.
Widner and
Second it.
Lewis, all in favor?
Councillor Widner.
Yes.
Councillor Moore.
Yes.
Councillor Cerna. Councillor Cerna. Councillor Lewis.
Yes.
Councillor Galinsky.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Jaguar.
Yes.
Mayor Manal.
Yes.
Carried.
Thank you. The purpose of the public meeting is to consider an application to change the zoning on a small vacant parcel from Village Residential 1 zone to Village Residential 1 holding. Applicant is Cornelius and Margaretha Penner, part lot 21, concession 9, municipally known as 11732 Springfield Road. Diana, can you advise and confirm the method and date of notice, please?
Your Worship, notice of the meeting was given in the prescribed manner by publication in the Elmer Express on November 25th and December the 2nd. In addition, affected property owners within 120 meters were sent a notice by prepaid first-class mail posted 20 days prior to the meeting.
Thank you. Adam, can you give us an overview, please?
Thank you, Your Worship. Yes, the application has been submitted in order to satisfy one condition of the conditions imposed by the Land Division Committee for consent application E5619, and that's within the settlement area of Springfield. I do want to make note of two matters in both the planning report prepared by Monteith Brown and also the correspondence by the Catfish Creek Conservation Authority. Firstly, the planning report refers to Mount Springfield on one of the pages. That's certainly an error. It's certainly the village of Springfield there. And then secondly, the Catfish Creek, if you read their comments, they noted that they do have concerns with this application, and in responding back to them, they have confirmed that that was again an error, and they indeed do not have concerns with the application. We did receive some correspondence, and I've had discussions with the adjacent neighbor to the north of the subject lands, Mr. Bill McIntyre. He resides and owns property adjacent to the north at 11748 Springfield Road. And he's concerned about having essentially future road allowances or roads, to the north of him, if the property, if we look at the report photo or the aerial map provided in the agenda, as well as what's proposed tonight through the zoning amendment. Through conversations with Mr. McIntyre, he's concerned about when roads get built and become besides property, that would have impact through the zoning bylaw for what he currently has are two interior side yards on the north and south. And if he's got a second road, it would result with an exterior side yard. But the impact of tonight's zoning bylaw amendment will not automatically cause for either of the accesses to become roads. That would only be contemplated through a future draft plan of subdivision application. And at that time, it could be determined where access to those future development lands are appropriate. It does not necessarily mean that this right of way or this access that's being zoned through tonight's application will be a public road allowance, because I think what would be ideal for the rest of the development lands in the southeast quadrant of Springfield would that a development be developed comprehensively, not just in isolation on this individual property that's being retained through the holding provision. So there's nothing else to add to my report unless members of council or members of the public have any questions.
Okay. Thank you, Adam. Diana, was there any other comments received other than what Adam has stated?
No, just the two comments that our planner has stated.
Okay. And no one in the audience?
No, there's not.
Okay. Any questions from council?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead, Max.
Question to Adam, I do believe. Was Mr. McIntyre satisfied with the response?
Yes, he did confirm in an email response to me this evening that he believes that what I advised to him is it's premature to assume that that's going to become a road, and any impact to any future draft plan of subdivision can be assessed at that time when it's brought forward to council for consideration. So I believe he agreed to that. He does have concerns respectfully, but acknowledges that it might be premature to be dealing with it at this time through this planning application.
Thank you.
Any other questions from council?
I have a question, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead, Rick.
I understand that there's a difference in the road allowance or whatever. And I'm just wondering, because Mr. McIntyre has had it so long, if we're going to change it and put a road in there, can we not just grandfather it in and say, okay, you've been this way for 100 years, we'll just keep it that way?
Adam?
I think so. When a future draft plan of subdivision is contemplated, there might be a zoning bylaw amendment application dealt with at that time, which will deal with the appropriate type of dwellings and setbacks that will pertain to that plan of subdivision. And that zoning amendment could also apply to Mr. McIntyre's property if deemed appropriate by council at that time. So when we go ahead and do a zoning amendment for the future development lands, and it's deemed in the public interest and appropriate by council, they can also, through that process, provide a relief to Mr. McIntyre's property if it's deemed appropriate.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else from council? Seeing none. Mover and seconder, the public meeting relating to zoning bylaw amendment application of Cornelius and Margaretha Penner relating to property located at lot 21, concession 9 be adjourned. Council reconvene. at 7:37. Mover and seconder,
Move it.
Moore,
I'll second it.
Serna, all in favor.
Counselor Widner,
Yes.
Counselor Moore,
Yes.
Counselor Cerna,
Yes.
Counselor Lewis,
Yes.
Counselor Galinsky,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Jiguer,
yes,
Mayor Manel,
Yes,
carried.
thank you. And finally, mover and seconder bylaw number 20-85, being a bylaw to amend zoning bylaw number 1822 insofar as it relates to the property owned by Cornelius and Margarita Penner, located at lot 21, concession 9, be given a first, second, third reading, properly signed and sealed.
I'll move it.
Serna? Seconder?
Yeah. I'll second it.
Widner? All in favor?
Counselor Widner,
Yes.
Counselor Moore,
Yes.
Counselor Cerna,
Yes.
Counselor Lewis,
Yes.
Counselor Galinsky,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Jiguer,
yes,
Mayor Manel,
Yes,
carried.
thank you. Next, we have a petition for drainage, and Mark, you're shut yourself off.
Does that work?
Yep, that's good. Is Mike there, Mike DeVos?
No, I'll be doing this one.
Oh,
Yeah.
go ahead,
Kevin,
Matt.
come here.
So, good evening, Your Worship and Council. This one report I have for you this evening relates to a drainage petition that the township received by a landowner on Whitaker Road for the construction of a new branch drain in the watershed of the J&A Charlton drain, which was required as a consent condition for a newly created lot in order to provide a legal outlet for the surface water. As council will recall, a landowner on York Line has prior petitioned for work on the J. Charlton drain, and Spreed Associates were appointed to prepare the engineer's report. So accordingly, staff are recommending Spreed Associates be appointed to prepare a report to address this petition for work on the same drain. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Matt. Questions for Matt? Seeing none, mover and seconder. The report number PS 20-54 entitled Petition for Drainage Slansky Van Grove be received, that Mike DeVos, engineer of Streets Associate, may be appointed to prepare an engineer's report for this petition.
I'll move it.
Lewis and
I'll second it.
Galinsky, all in favor?
Counselor Moore,
Yes.
Counselor Cerna,
Yes.
Counselor Lewis,
Yes.
Counselor Galinsky,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Jiguer,
yes,
Mayor Manel,
Yes,
carried.
thank you. The connectivity study, who's doing that?
Your worship, through you, Cecil is going to do the initial presentation, and then Arun and I will add if necessary.
Okay, go ahead, Cecil.
Evening, Your Worship and Council. I'll try to keep this short because I'm sure there'll be some questions. In April of 2019, Council was approached with a report to use some of our grant money to look at improving some connectivity for the township. At that point, Council directed us to get some more information, come up with some better plans. A few weeks ago, you again gave us the approval to go ahead and engage some vendors to look at building a potential solution for us. And an RFP was submitted. I've submitted it to 7. I think a total of 9 submissions that were put out, and we had responses from 3. In front of you, you'll see the one that we chose was from Community Fiber, a company who has worked closely with other municipalities just outside of Ottawa. They have experience in both wireless and fiber optic. And we feel that after reviewing the RFPs, that they met all the technical requirements and confidence in being able to provide a solution that we may need. Primarily, their experience with working with licensed wireless spectrum, have had experience in building towers at some of the heights that we determined that we need. So I felt, along with the other two people that reviewed the RFP, that they met everything that we required. So with that, I will wait for some questions.
Questions for Cecil? Michelle, have you got anything to add?
Your worship, nothing further. The report, I think, is fairly self-explanatory, but I believe that Deputy Mayor was just going to put her hand up and have some questions. So I'll maybe wait and comment again further, maybe after her questions.
Okay, Dominique, go ahead.
Sure, thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor. So it's a hefty price tag. I have to say, I was a little bit surprised. And so I'm wondering, did they give a value of like the number of hours? Because I was also concerned by the length, like 3 to 4 months seemed a little bit long. But so I guess a two-part question. So do we know in hours how much effort is required to do all that work? And does it put us at a disadvantage in terms of the timing for any of the grants that we were considering?
I can answer that, or Michelle can answer that. What would you prefer, Michelle?
Well, I can maybe speak to the grant part, and then I'll let you speak to the technical side of it, because
Sure.
I'm not as familiar with that one. We all know IT is not my specialty. But with respect to the grant applications, the first submission for the ICON grant program is due actually on January the 8th. Staff are working to prepare the preliminary information that is necessary in order to submit that first submission. We have the necessary information to go forward with that one. Based on some webinars of the grant program that staff have participated in, giving more information over the last couple of weeks, we're confident that the next submission that's going to be required, the next part of information that needs to be submitted, will be in late February or early March. And at that point, we are confident that the consultants will have provided and done enough review at that point. We may not have the final report, but they will have enough information that we'll be able to continue with the grant application process. So we're not concerned at this stage that we're not going to be able to meet the required timelines in order to submit our applications. And I'll maybe turn it over to Cecil to speak to the other.
Thank you, Michelle, through you, your worship. Just to add to that, the first phase of the grant is a very generalized submission. They want to know the area that's going to be covered, the approximate properties, and a rough estimate. The big component that we require is due to the fact that the municipality itself does not have 3 years plus experience in building a internet service network. We need to partner with somebody who has at least 3 years experience. So assuming that this is approved this evening, this partner could be that partner that we require to complete the submission for the ICON program.
Okay, thanks, Cecil. Any other questions for Cecil?
Yes.
Well, if I could.
Go ahead, Mark.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I guess through you to Cecil. Cecil, when we get this done, are we gonna have enough confidence in this report? If there's gonna be enough information that we can, go ahead and do this project if we need be? For 49,000, I would hope so.
Through your
What do you
worship.
think?
Yes, so to try to put it in terms that everybody can understand, they will be providing us, or more specifically, giving us the tools that we require to submit an RFP for construction. They will be dictating height requirements, radio equipment, even locations to confirm that they do work. So we'll be coming out with very detailed information that can then be put into the RFP for the construction of it.
Okay, that sounds good. I don't know what else we can do. We're not experts at it, so we shouldn't pretend to be. So I think I could support this. So my opinion, thank you.
Any other questions for Cecil or Michelle? I got to trust staff that they've chosen the right company that has all the answers that we need to move forward. So certainly I'll be supporting it. Any other questions? Seeing none. Mover and seconder report number FIN 20-24 titled Feasibility Study for Connectivity Services be received. That the feasibility study for the connectivity service project be awarded to Community Fiber Company of Lanark, Ontario at a cost of $49,000 plus taxes. Mover and seconder.
I'll move it. Move it.
Serna and Lewis, all in favor?
Councillor Widner,
Yes.
Councillor Moore,
Yes.
Councillor Cerna,
Yes.
Councillor Lewis,
Yes.
Councillor Galinsky,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Jaguar,
Yes,
Mayor Manel,
Yes,
carried.
thank you. Michelle, you're doing the video conferencing?
So your worship, I'm going to ask Cecil to present that one as well as, again, the nature of this particular RFP or quotation process was more technical than I have the expertise for as well.
Okay, go ahead, Cecil.
For your worship again. Let me start off with saying that I also don't have the technical expertise when it comes to this. So given all the audio issues we've had, we were asked to go and look for a solution. So I've engaged 4 local companies, local being London, Ontario. 3 of the 4 companies were willing to provide quotes. 2 of those 3 came on site to look at our temporary council chambers at Malahide Community Place, did their sampling, did their audio. Out of those quotes, the one that's presented before you, and it's based honestly with some of Matt Sweetland's input. So if you have any, maybe the more technical questions, you can ask him. Is based on Shure Audio, SHURE. My understanding from Matt and from just research that is the best of the audio options that are in the 3 different quotes. Each quote also does provide a following or tracking camera option, and they meet or exceed that requirement. It will allow any one of these systems, but this one also is for me not to actually be here. It will allow staff to be able to operate the council meeting without IT being required, and is transportable back to the existing council chambers for a more permanent install, but is also simple enough that if we do have future meetings at Malahide Community Place or elsewhere for that matter, it can be assembled by staff without requiring IT to be involved. And if there's any more questions, feel free to ask.
Thank you, Cecil. Anything to add, Michelle?
No, I think one of the factors, I mean, obviously we want a solution that is going to make it easy to be able to address the audio issues we've had. So we want all of our members of the public that are viewing our council meetings, both during the COVID season as well as afterwards, to be able to have good quality audio as well as visual. And I think the other thing that staff are looking for, I know that in many municipalities, and I believe at the county level, an IT staff person is available at almost all of the council meetings. Even prior to COVID, I believe there was somebody that's available to assist it with technology. They have more IT staff, obviously, and lots of other municipalities have the same scenario. It's very challenging when we have one IT person who works all day long and then has to also be in attendance for all of our meetings in order to allow us to proceed. So this is an opportunity and a solution that is going to allow even me to be able to operate it, I'm told, and have success with that system as well. So that from staff's perspective, again, is a huge benefit in moving forward with this particular solution that is being proposed this evening.
Okay, thanks, Michelle. Questions for either Cecil or Michelle?
Mr. Mayor, I
Go
have
ahead,
a
Rick.
question. Oh, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to Cecil, what kind of guarantee do we get with this system? Like, they put it in if it doesn't work or whatever, like what are they backing this 100% or what?
Through your worship, I would have to imagine it's like anything else that we purchase. These guys are the experts. I have referrals. Each one of them have worked with local municipalities in our region. Following up with those referrals, there was no complaints, no issues. I have to take them at their word. If you want me to follow up to see what sort of guarantees there are, I have no problem doing that and asking. I would imagine, like most things, they're going to stand behind their product because they want a good review and they want to be able to get more service to other municipalities in the future.
That's good. I'd actually like you to follow up and see what kind of guarantee we do get with this system.
I will gladly do that for you tomorrow.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're more than welcome.
Any other questions?
Mr.
Seeing
Mayor.
none.
Mr. Mayor, it's Dominique.
Oh, go ahead, Dominique.
Sure. Thank you. Through you to Cecil. You mentioned a camera that would pan, I guess, from speaker to speaker. And some of the feedback I received from our previous meetings was not just about the audio. It was also about getting seasick when trying to pan from, one extreme side of the room and then quickly to the other. And then by the time you pan to the other, the person's already responded. So I'm familiar with like some 360 solutions, which may or may not be appropriate, but if not, for example, at the county, you simply do like 4 cameras is then you split the screen in 4 and there's no panning and everybody's on screen at all times. So I would like to ensure, because I think the way it was described, that the solution that's being suggested is the panning from person to person, and I don't think that would improve the visual, viewing.
If I may answer, I understand exactly what you're saying, and I completely agree with you. I did ask some questions to these vendors, and the proposed solution, just given the sheer size of the room and the fact that we're so distanced because of social distancing, maybe not to focus on individuals so much as regions of the room. So if you're on the left side of the room, don't focus on the individual, just focus on the left side of the room, the center of the room, the right side of the room. It'll reduce the amount of panning. It may not give you the face detail that some individuals might want, but at least you can get an idea of who's talking without as much movement. And that can all be programmed.
So,
Thanks,
Mr. Mayor, if I could then, in support of Councillor Cerna's comment, I definitely would want to have some assurance that if we try and for whatever reason it's not working, that we're not out $22,000.
Through your worship, by all means, if any of you know me at all, I'm frugal. I try to get the best bang for the buck, and I'm blunt. So I will definitely follow up with these vendors and make sure that we have something in writing.
Thank you.
Well, certainly, if you don't pay the check until it's working up and working well, that's certainly an incentive to make sure it is working. Any other questions?
Question. Good.
Go ahead, Mark.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I know I've talked to Cecil about this because that's a lot of money, I think, but we're getting more than just microphones, right? We're getting a whole system that can be moved and be used for years. So I think that should be clarified. But I also set up one of my neighbors who does a great job on one of the churches for their videos on YouTube. And he actually, I guess, got together with Cecil somehow, and he agrees this is probably the route we have to go. And he's as thrifty as anybody too. So I feel better that he looked at it, and I'm glad Cecil could work with him. But what are we getting? Like, it'd be microphones, a sound system, and amps? What is it altogether?
Through your worship, probably the wrong person to ask, but I'll do my best to explain it. My understanding is there is a hardware encoder, which does both the audio and the video encoding. It actually takes some of the load off of Zoom from doing all the magic. It actually gives it a more consistent output. Along with that, there'll also be another PA system. So when you've been at the council chambers at Malahide Community Place, you've seen the big unit on the floor plus the 2 speakers. There is a second one for that. And the idea behind that was if and or when this were to go back to the council chambers, we would require the amp to go with it. Maybe not so much the speakers, but definitely the amp, the processor and such. So we wanted to keep that separate. Lastly, you're right, it is more than just microphones. So this is a delegate conference system. Each of the bases actually have built-in speakers. So for those who might have hard of hearing or because of the sheer social distancing, again, you'll have your own personal speaker right in front of you, being able to hear everything that's being said by everybody. If it's still a challenge, you do have the ability to plug in your own headset and be able to listen to the audio over a headset. So you'll have a lot more control over what you're hearing. And for the mayor as the chair, there is also the option to be able to mute everybody. So this is a true conference system, which is why I feel it will be the solution that we need and require going forward.
Thank you. That makes it a little more clear. And that what you're talking about is the kill switch for the chairperson? Kind of a rough term, but tell me what that is.
Well, I use it as crude because I figured it was something everybody understood. It is just a master button that mutes all the handsets except for the chairperson, and which in this case would be the mayor.
Kind of like the Trump debate.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Yeah, just, Mr. Mayor,
ahead, Rick.
if I can comment, it just sounds like we're moving into the 21st century. I don't know how old the system is that we have, but obviously it's not working. I know it's a lot of money to improve. I don't know how long we need it. But it's a good thing that we're actually moving ahead, progressing, and it's more for the public than it is for us. And they need to be able to tap into our meetings, watch what we're saying, watch what we're doing. And to me, this is a perfect solution. So thank you, Cecil. I'm glad you're working on it. And I don't like the mute button for you, but that's beside the point. And we'll just go from there. Thank you.
Your
Okay,
worship,
thank
if I may also, it's important to note that as Cecil indicated, this system is going to be relocated once the pandemic is over and we can return to our former council chambers. But council has already made a decision to continue to allow for electronic participation in perpetuity, or at least for until the next decision is made by a council. It's also, this will allow us to continue to be able to live stream all of our council meetings even after the pandemic is done. So the intention is that this is not just a solution for the next 6 months or 8 months until the pandemic is over, and hopefully it's only that long before it's over. But this is something that is going to be able to allow us to continue, as Councillor Cerna indicated, to allow the public to be able to still be able to view our meetings, be able to keep up to date on things as we continue to live stream going forward. So there are many years of investment in this particular solution.
Thanks, Michelle. Any other questions? Okay, mover and seconder. Report number CAO 20-21 entitled Video Conferencing Solution for Council Meetings be received. And that the quotation received from PA Shop of London, Ontario, in the amount of $22,362 plus taxes to provide and install a video conferencing system for council meetings at Malahide Community Place. That Malahide staff be authorized and directed to take the necessary action to facilitate the installation of video conferencing solution in Malahide Community Place to better enable electronic participation and live streaming of council meetings, it being noted that such a system be redeployed to the former council chambers in the future. Mover and seconder.
And Mr. Mayor, just before I will move the resolution, I wanted to clarify that this qualifies for some of our COVID relief fund, so it came out of that reserve.
Yes, your worship, through you. Sorry, I should have clarified that when we were presenting the report, but yes, this is what it would be classified as a COVID related expense, and therefore would be eligible to use the provincial funding that we received in order to make this acquisition. So this won't be a situation where it will have an impact on the tax levy going forward.
Because it will go in the 2021 budget. Right?
Correct. Correct. Yeah.
Thank you. So I will move.
Okay, moved by Jagger, seconder.
I'll second it. Mayor.
Cerna, all in favor.
Councillor Widner,
Yes.
Councillor Moore,
Yes.
Councillor Cerna,
Yes.
Councillor Lewis,
Yes.
Councillor Golinski,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Jagger,
Yes.
Mayor Manel,
Yes,
carried.
thank you. And Michelle, you're doing the records?
Yes, your worship. I have 2 additional reports for council's consideration this evening. The first one is kind of a housekeeping item. Council that has been on council for a few years now will recall that periodically, as the clerk, we bring forward a recommendation to update our records retention schedule. The municipality subscribes to what is referred to as the acronym as TOMRIMS. It's the Ontario Municipal Records Management System. And it was established initially through AMCATO, but the record management function or record retention schedule is prepared by a private organization, and municipalities subscribe to that. What the the private organization does is has the exclusive function of reviewing every piece of legislation, every change in government, both federal and provincial, that may affect municipalities. And as a result, they review to determine what retention periods are applicable for all of our different types of records. You can see from the attachment in the draft bylaw, it's a fairly extensive document, references how we will administer records and ensure that we're meeting our legislative obligations. So we have prepared the updated schedule, which has been received from the third-party provider, and we're looking for council's approval to be able to move forward with that retention schedule and ensure, again, as we go forward, we're compliant with all legislative responsibilities.
Okay, thanks, Michelle. Questions for Michelle?
Mr. Mayor, it's Dominique.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Since this is new to me, would you be able to give just one example of something that changes in record keeping rules?
Yeah, so for example, there are certain requirements for environmental assessment documents. And at one point, there were a number of categories that were required to be kept in perpetuity. Now, most of those are required to be kept for 20 years or until the conclusion of the particular project. So periodically, there are changes that are made in those types of situations. And as a result, this document references all of those. There are a number of revised categories as well. There's a couple of categories that have been expanded. So when freedom of information and more accessibility requirements came in a few years ago, those sections were added and were augmented. And so it's just a better way to capture and ensure that we retain the right records, as well as organize them and file them in a comprehensive system that makes it easier to retrieve later.
Thank you for that.
Any other questions for Michelle? Seeing none, mover and seconder, report number CAO 20-22. Somebody have a question? Entitled Updated Records Retention Schedule be received, and that the attached record retention schedule dated October 2020 be approved.
Move it.
Mover, seconder,
Second it.
Lewis, all in favor?
Councillor Widner,
Yes.
Councillor Moore. Councillor Moore,
Yes.
Councillor Cerna,
Yes.
Councillor Lewis,
Yes.
Councillor Galinsky,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Jaguar,
Yes.
Mayor Manel,
Yes,
carried.
thank you. Michelle, you're doing the website redesign?
Yes, the next item, Your Worship, is I'm very pleased to announce that as of yesterday, we have launched our new redesigned website. I will admit it took a lot longer than what we had anticipated for a number of reasons. We had some challenges with staffing availability early on in the pandemic, and it's taken us a little bit longer than what we'd hoped. We had hoped to be able to launch this back in the spring or the summer, but as a result of a number of other priorities and obligations, it's taken longer. But I'm really happy with the end result, and we are looking to be able to do a demo of the site to council in the new year. We had anticipated doing it this evening, actually, and then decided that maybe during a Zoom call wasn't going to be the easiest to be able to showcase some of the new features of the website. But Allison Adams is the staff lead for this particular project, and she is going to attend in the new year at one of the meetings early in the new year to be able to give a detailed presentation to council, show you some of the new features. It does have some more interactive opportunities, and we're going to continue to work on additional of those interactive aspects, but it is also 100% compliant with the new AODA requirements that come into effect on January 1st of 2021. So we're really pleased about that. And again, has some additional features that have been highlighted in the report. We're now going to provide access to the new bids and tenders system that the township has recently subscribed to for our posting procurement opportunities. And it also has an interactive calendar for all of our council and committee meetings and community events, which many users will be able to find beneficial. A number of forms, as I said, and much more interactive abilities than in the past. It is definitely a work in progress, and we only launched it yesterday. So we are aware of even a couple little things that we need to tweak already. That's pretty consistent when you launch a new platform of anything. So if council members are looking at the website and have any suggestions, please let us know and we can address them. Or if you're talking to members of the public, we very much would like to encourage members of the public to become familiar with it, to take a look, explore it a little bit more. There is more information there has been in the past, and there will continue to be more information added. So our intent is that if we can get as much information on the website, make it as user-friendly as possible, it will minimize a lot of delays potentially with residents being able to get the services that they want. Also help to streamline and make our own staff more efficient by having that opportunity to do things online more so than we have in the past. So we're very excited about it and are looking forward to working through. As I said, if there is anything that anybody sees or any suggestions to make it better, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Okay, thanks, Michelle. Questions for Michelle on the website?
No, I looked at it. It was pretty good.
Yeah, I was going to say congratulations. I know it was a lot of work, but it's definitely a huge improvement. Thank you.
I'll pass that along to staff involved. Thank you.
Okay, mover and second report number DC 20-33, entitled Township of Malahide website redesign launch be received.
I'll move it.
I'll second.
Moved by Glinsky, second by Jagger, all in favor.
Councillor Widner,
Yes.
Councillor Moore,
Yes.
Councillor Cerna,
Yes.
Councillor Lewis,
Yes.
Councillor Galinsky,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Jagger,
Yes.
Mayor Manel,
Yes,
carried.
thank you. Next, we have 3 reports from outside boards, the Long Point and the Budget Committee. Any questions or comments on either one of those? Seeing none, can I have a mover and seconder? The reports committee outside boards be noted and filed.
I'll move it.
Cerna, seconder.
Second it.
Lewis, all in favor.
Councillor Widner,
Yes.
Councillor Moore,
Yes.
Councillor Cerna,
Yes.
Councillor Lewis,
Yes.
Councillor Galinsky,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Jagger,
Yes.
Mayor Manel,
Yes,
carried.
thank you. Correspondence, we have 10 items. Anyone wish to make comment or support for any of these items?
I had a couple if I could.
Go ahead, Rick or Mark.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to ask Matt what he thinks of item 2 about having drainage systems have some, I guess, history file with the township. Probably not a bad idea. I think we're pretty good because we have a lot of them under records, but probably a lot of places don't. And then item 6, I guess Southwest Middlesex is having trouble with CN Rail with drainage issues. So I guess they kind of refuse to have anything done around or near them. So I can't see how that's going to work very long. And we have some CN rail line in our area. And we have trouble getting our crossings fixed. I guess I spoke to them today about that. So anyway, I would support item 6. I'd like to discuss item 2 to see if Matt thinks it's necessary or would be beneficial. Thank you.
Matt?
Yes, through your worship. I also agree with item 2 that those maps are very, very beneficial when it comes to planning drainage works. And there are at times some undue delays as a result of records being lost and or not kept. And having a good filing system by the township and having those readily available is an absolute benefit. So I would agree that that's a great idea.
Okay, thanks, Matt. Okay, we're looking for support for number 2 and 6. Anything else?
Now I have a question about number 2.
Go ahead.
Does that mean that if I want to put a piece of tile in, I have to get an engineer in to do the engineering on it as opposed to what we do now?
Through you, your worship, no, that this refers to drainage contractors doing farm tile drainage. So it doesn't qualify as a per se municipal drain, but it would require that those registered contractors doing this work, they provide a plan anyways before they undertake the work, but they would also file that plan with the township so that we would have a record of it. So it's beneficial when planning adjacent drainage works at times. So it doesn't require an engineer to be involved or a petition, things like that, only just that the plan does get put with the township.
As long as the contractor doesn't have to have an engineer, I'll support it.
Okay, thanks, Jess. Any other questions? So we are endorsing number 2 and number 6 and receiving file the balance. So mover and seconder for that.
So moved.
Cerna,
I'll-
Glinski, all in favor?
Counselor Woodner,
Yes.
Counselor Moore,
Yes.
Counselor Cerna,
Yes.
Counselor Lewis,
Yes.
Counselor Galinsky,
Yes,
Deputy Mayor Jaguar,
Yes,
Mayor Manel,
Yes,
carried.
thank you. Next we have draft budgets from Catfish Creek. Any questions or comments on that?
Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I would like to request more information from the general manager of Catfish Creek. I do find the increase higher than perhaps it should be at this time. And when I compare to the other conservation authorities and here, for example, in the Kettle Creek, from the letter from the general manager that there was a direct effort to show restraint and show respect to the municipality and came down to a 1% increase, which is the bare minimum. So I did not see any reference to that level of deference, I guess, to the municipality in the Catfish Creek report. So there are a few items that have increased quite a bit, and I would like, I can forward the specific questions and would like more information from the general manager.
Perhaps we could have Chris come into our January meeting. Would
Yeah.
that be acceptable?
Mayor,
Go ahead, Rick.
Chris, I'm sure would be available anytime, anywhere, any place to come and explain our rationale for what we did this year. I know it's 3% sounds like a lot, but we were complaining last week about our insurance going up sky high in Malahide. Well, Catfish Creek's insurance, just his insurance went up by 16,000. And in the COVID year, we couldn't open the market or the campgrounds in time. We lost our Maple Syrup Festival. We lost our March Quest. We lost so much. And our 3% brings in an extra $10,000 over all the municipalities. Kettle Creek's 1% brings in $300 less. So, I mean, Chris would be more than willing to come and explain it. I can guarantee you that. So I'm game. So we'll go. I just wanted to let you know that we'll do whatever we can to justify whatever we've done. Okay, thank you.
Michelle, we'll ask to get Chris into our January meeting.
Absolutely, your worship. We'll extend an invitation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions about the Catfish? Okay, mover and seconder correspondence received from the Catfish Creek Conservation Authority dated November 26, 2020 regarding the 2021 Catfish Creek preliminary draft budget be received.
I'll move it.
Cerna, seconder.
Second it.
Lewis, all in favor?
Counselor Widner,
Yes.
Counselor Moore,
Yes.
Counselor Cerna,
Yes.
Counselor Lewis,
Yes.
Counselor Galinsky,
yes,
Deputy Mayor Jaguar,
Yes,
Mayor Manel,
Yes,
carried.
thank you. And the Kettle. Any questions regarding the Kettle Creek's budget? Seeing none, mover and second of the correspondence received from Kettle Creek Conservation Authority dated December 8th, 2020 regarding the 2021 levy and budget be received.
Move it.
I'll
Mover,
second.
Jager, all in favor?
Counselor Widner,
Yes.
Counselor Moore,
Yes.
Counselor Cerna,
Yes.
Counselor Galinsky,
yes,
Counselor Lewis,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Jager,
Yes.
Mayor Manel,
Yes,
carried.
thank you. The community complex, are you doing that, Michelle?
Yes, Your Worship, I can. The Almer CIO has submitted a report for this council's information. The same report went Monday evening to the Almer Council meeting as well. It's just to provide an update following the annual building condition assessment that was completed earlier this year or this fall. So council will notice in the attached correspondence that there was some issues with the duct work in the hall ceiling that is causing some staining as a result of condensation. So this particular repair is going to be included in the draft budget for the complex that the Joint Board of Management will be reviewing in, I believe, late January of 2021 when it reviews the rest of the budget. So this is just for this particular council's information, and there will be more discussion available as to the recommended repair and the financial implications when you meet with the Elmer Council as the Joint Board of Management early in the new year.
Okay, thanks, Michelle. Questions for Michelle?
Yeah, I have one if I could.
Go ahead, Mark.
I see the, yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I see the problem, but I don't know why all of a sudden after 12 years, we're having a problem. Are we running the ventilation different in the building, or something must have changed because we never had this problem before. So I don't know if they have an answer to that, but it would be nice to know.
Yeah, and through your worship, I don't have an answer to that, but certainly we can, I can relay that question and make sure that that answer is available when the Joint Board of Management meets in the
Thank
new
you.
year.
Any other questions for Michelle? Mover and second of the Town of Aylmer Report CAO-84-20 relating to the East Elgin Community Complex entitled Annual Building Condition Assessment be received.
I'll move it.
Widner,
Second that.
second by Lewis, all in favor?
Counselor Widner,
Yes.
Counselor Moore,
Yes.
Counselor Cerna,
Yes.
Counselor Lewis,
Yes.
Counselor Galinsky,
yes,
Deputy Mayor Jager,
Yes.
Mayor Manel,
Yes,
carried.
thank you. We received the draft budget that was reviewed by the Budget Committee and recommended to council, but we still have to go over it at a council level. Is there any other questions or comments on the draft budget?
If I may, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead, Dominique.
Sure, thank you. So I just wanted to reiterate that as I commented last week, that I do appreciate that I think we're heading in the right direction in terms of level of details and transparency. But I will say that I'm still disappointed that staff did not offer to review any of the budget lines that I proposed to re-examine. So by email, I had offered about 40 line items that where I had noticed a 2-year trend that was nothing to do with COVID necessarily, because it was from 2018 before COVID. And I felt that it was unfortunate that just not even one line item was offered to be revisited. So I'll go back even just the fuel alone. I did a 5-year analysis of the fuel alone. And when you average consumption, and even if you leave yourself a huge buffer, I still estimate that even at a cost of, what do I have in my notes, like at $1.13 per liter, which I don't think we're going to have in 2021, I still, by my analysis, still see that we're $50,000 over budgeted on that line, which could be used somewhere else. So my comment, and I clarified last week that my offer was not about cutting service levels. It was about looking and analyzing our own information to find opportunities for savings. I think we owe it to our ratepayers to do that kind of diligence. And we just have to look around. It's even more obvious now. You can watch other municipalities around us. You can watch their videos and their budget deliberations, and you can see how they go, how many of them go line by line. So I wish we could have at least by the end of the discussion last week have offered to review at least a few lines. We have time. It's mid-December. There was no need to rush. So anyway, I still think we're heading in the right direction, and I do appreciate that. So the glass is half full as far as I'm concerned, but I still did want to say that I think it's a missed opportunity. I did not support the budget last week, and I will not support it tonight. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for those comments. Dominique, any other questions or comments?
That's that one then.
Mark?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I guess through you to Dominique, I guess we have the opportunity on to watch those line items. And if in fact we do feel there's something wrong or there is something that's not quite calculated right, we should be able to have a surplus by the end of the year on those items, wouldn't we?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I appreciate that. However, I feel that then we're taxing the surplus. I've only been on council a couple of years, but I've not seen the surplus going back in the pockets of our ratepayers. So which means we're collecting more money just in case, and then we take a surplus, and then yeah. So I'm not sure that we need to over budget, and that's the comment I made last week. So, and I don't mean to reopen the discussions and the deliberations because those were concluded last week. I just feel that the flexibility should not be at the expense of our ratepayers. If we know already of some lines that we no longer need. In 2018, we thought we predicted that way, but now after 2 years, we can see that we've over budgeted. I would have liked to have reviewed some of those lines. So I just wanted to be clear on that and without reopening deliberation. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
Mayor Manel, I agree with Dominique that some of these items that have been kind of going year to year, they should be looked again, possibly for savings. I'm not looking at cutting services either, but I am looking at being frugal and not overspend where we don't have to. Thank you.
Thanks, Jess. And I agree that we want to be as frugal as possible, but I would far sooner end the year in a surplus than a deficit. That will be my comments. So there is a resolution, and the new resolution is a revised resolution to include the $25,000 for video conferencing solution in the 2021 capital budget, which is coming out of the reserves. So will not affect the budget. So I need a mover and seconder. The following actions be taken by Malahide Township Council with respect to the draft 2021-22 budget. 1, the approval of the 2021 budget in the amount of $14,593,691. And 2, approve in principle the draft 2022 budget in the amount of $13,952,565. It being pointed out that the draft 2020 budget provides for a total taxation revenue increase of $209,922 for township purposes, and that the levy increase currently represents a lower tier municipal tax levy of about 2.86% for 2021 and for 3% for the year of 2022. Mover and seconder, please.
Move it.
Moved by Lewis, seconder.
I'll second it.
Serna, all in favor?
Councillor Widner,
Yes.
Councillor Moore,
Yes.
Councillor Serna,
Yes.
Councillor Lewis,
Yes.
Councillor Galinsky,
No,
Deputy Mayor Jaguar,
No,
Mayor Manel,
Yes,
carried.
thank you. Anything else for other business before we go into bylaws? None. Mover and seconder, bylaw number 20-67, being a bylaw to provide for drainage works on the Leonard Jones Drain, be read a third time, finally passed, properly signed and sealed.
I'll move
Do
it.
it.
Glinski and Cerna, all in favor?
Counselor Widner,
Yes.
Counselor Moore,
yes,
Counselor Cerna,
Yes.
Counselor Lewis,
Yes.
Counselor Galinsky,
Yes,
Deputy Mayor Jager,
Yes,
Mayor Manel,
Yes,
carried.
thank you. And mover and seconder, bylaw number 20-84, being official plan amendment number 84 to the official plan of the Township of Malahide insofar as relates to the property owned by 1111944 Ontario Limited Creative Enterprises, located at Lot 24, Concession 3, Township of Malahide, known as 51631 and 51553, Carlton Line, be given a first, second, third reading, properly signed and sealed.
I'll move it.
Moved by Glinski, seconder.
second,
Lewis, all in favor?
Counselor Widner,
Yes.
Counselor Moore,
yes,
Counselor Cerna,
Yes.
Counselor Lewis,
Yes.
Counselor Galinsky,
Yes,
Deputy Mayor Jager,
yes,
Mayor Manel,
Yes,
carried.
thank you.
Your worship, we did, there were two drainage bylaws for the Leonard Jones Drain and the drain extension.
Okay, I'm looking for that. Okay, yep, they're tied together. Thanks, Diana. Mover and seconder, bylaw number 20-68, being a bylaw to provide for the drainage work on the Leonard Jones Drain extension. We had a third time finally passed and properly signed and sealed. Mover and seconder.
it.
I'll
Moved by
second.
Lewis, seconder.
I'll second it.
Galinsky, all in favor?
Counselor Widner,
Yes.
Counselor Moore,
yes,
Counselor Cerna,
Yes.
Counselor Lewis,
Yep.
Counselor Galinsky,
Yes,
Deputy Mayor Jager,
yes,
Mayor Manel,
Yes.
carried.
Did we get a mover and seconder on creative enterprises?
Yes.
All in favor? Or did we do that?
Yes.
Okay, we're good.
Your worship, if I may comment on the next bylaw up for council's consideration, the bylaw 2086, which prohibits the excessive idling of vehicles. I apologize to council, the wrong version of the bylaw was included in the council agenda. The section 2.1 of the bylaw in the council agenda referred to not permitting a vehicle to idle for more than 3 minutes, when in fact that should read 7 minutes. So I did send out a revised bylaw to members of council. We'll ensure that that gets corrected on the website as well. But the intention is to have council approve the bylaw with the restriction of 7 minutes, not 3.
Okay, thanks, Michelle. Mover and seconder, bylaw number 20-86, being a bylaw to prohibit excessive idling of vehicles, be given a first, second, third reading, properly signed and sealed.
I'll move it.
Winder, seconder.
I'll second it.
Cerna, all in favor?
Counselor Widner,
Yes.
Counselor Moore,
yes,
Counselor Cerna,
Yes.
Counselor Lewis,
Yes.
Counselor Galinsky,
yes,
Deputy Mayor Jager,
yes,
Mayor Manel,
Yes,
carried.
thank you. And finally, mover and seconder, the bylaw number 20-88, being a bylaw to update the records retention schedule, be given a first, second, third reading, properly signed and sealed.
move it,
Moore,
Second it.
Lewis, all in favor?
Counselor Widner,
Yes.
Counselor Moore,
yes,
Counselor Cerna,
Yes.
Counselor Lewis,
Yes.
Counselor Galinsky,
yes,
Deputy Mayor Jager,
yes,
Mayor Manel,
Yes,
carried.
thank you. Now we need a mover and seconder of the council move into closed session at 8:32 pursuant to section 239-2 of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended to discuss a labor relation or employee negotiation matter regarding staff performance reviews. Mover and seconder, please.
Move it.
Widner,
Second it.
second by Lewis, all in favor.
Counselor Widner,
Yes.
Counselor Moore,
Yes.
Counselor Cerna,
Yes.
Counselor Lewis,
Yes.
Counselor Galinsky,
yes,
Deputy Mayor Jaguar,
Yes,
Mayor Manel,
Yes.
carried.
Now, when you're ready,
You can go ahead.
okay. Now that we're out of closed session, I need a mover and second of the bylaw number 20-87, being confirmatory bylaw, be given a first, second, third reading, properly signed and sealed. Mover and seconder,
I'll move it.
Sarna, Widner, all in favor?
Counselor Widner,
Yes.
Counselor Moore,
Yes.
Counselor Cerna,
Yes.
Counselor Lewis,
Yes.
Counselor Galinsky, Counselor Galinsky,
no,
Deputy Mayor Jaguar,
yes,
Mayor Manel,
Yes.
carried.
Thank you. And finally, the mover and second of the council adjourn its meeting at 8:50 to meet again on January 7th, 2021 at 7:30. Zelinski and Widner, all in favor?
Counselor Widner,
Yes.
Counselor Moore,
Yes.
Counselor Cerna,
Yes.
Counselor Lewis,
Yes.
Counselor Galinsky,
yes.
Deputy Mayor Jaguar,
yes.
Mayor Manel,
Yes.
carried.
Thank you. Okay, folks, thank you for all attending tonight, and I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a safe holidays.
Merry
Same
Christmas
here.
to you
Merry
as
Christmas
well.
to you too.
Thank you.
Take care.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.